Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Night Setups here at MarketStream.live. I am Joseph Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. Here's what we want to do. We want to basically take a look at the futures markets right now. They're open on this Sunday evening, and we want to set up the table on our trading week. Now, what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to break down all the major indices as well as their ETFs. Take a look at where they are technically, as well as take a look at what the options are pricing in for potential movement in those underlying indices going into this week. This will be able to help you understand what the trading week should look like. Is it volatile? Should I start thinking about some of the cyclical things that are going on, as well as what's going on as far as Europe's concerned, specifically with Italy voting. The vote will be done about 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern time. So we'll know. You'll probably all be asleep, but I'll be watching the futures, and you can too. Taking a look at the futures right now, the Dow Jones right now, the futures are trading at 19,123. They are down 35 this Sunday evening. You also have the Russell 2000, those small caps, at 1311.90, down $1.50. You have the NASDAQ at 4715.75, down 23.5. You also have the S&P E-minis. They are down 8.25 at 2183.75. And you're seeing the crude market's also down 29 cents. West Texas is trading at 51.38. Gold and is up about $4.70 at 1182.40, which is unusual since the dollar is up right now. The U.S. dollar could be a little bit of a safety trade in lieu of this vote, that's this referendum vote in Italy. And the dollar's trading at 101, 27.5, 28.5, so it's fluctuating there. The bonds are all in the green. Again, could be a little bit of a safety trade right now in this Sunday evening trade. So let's take a look at what is on tap for this week, and I want to start with the S&Ps. Now, taking a look at the DEES S&Ps, they're currently trading right around 2184.25. Right now, the weekly options for the S&P futures are pricing in the potential for the DEES contract to be up or down this week about $37.75. So it's a pretty significant move being priced in. If you take a look at the simple moving averages, now those of you that have not entertained the tech talk that I have every day at 3:30 Eastern time, go back and check it out. But I take a look at some very simple moving averages to kind of give me some perspective on what's going on as far as the technical analysis and charts are telling us. The simple moving averages I look at are the 20, 50, and 200 day. The 20 gives me an idea of trend. The 50 gives me an idea of what institutions are thinking, and the 200 day is just long-term support or resistance. The 20-day simple moving average comes in at 2174, so that's 10 points below where the market's trading right now. That means that this market is in a pretty significant uptrend, and right now the trend is your friend. But always be on your toes with the $37.50 plus minus being priced into the market. The 50-day is at 21.53. If I start to see that the market breaks down, especially overnight, and starts challenging that 21.53 level, that's where institutions might come in and start selling futures as a hedge to their whole portfolio, maybe just doing a small beta hedge. 2090 is the 200-day moving average. That's long-term support in this case for the S&Ps. A challenge there, then you're going to start to see the market get nervous. Implied volatility is at 16.79%. It's moving, but still relatively inexpensive. If you don't have access to the futures, specifically the S&Ps, you can take a look at the ETF, the spiders. SPY is the symbol. Went out at 219.68 on Friday. The weekly options are pricing in the potential for the spiders to move up or down this week, $3.23. Now the simple moving averages, the 20 comes in at 218. The 50 comes in at 215. So you got a nice little gap there between the 20 and the 50. That's a positive from not only just the strength of the trend, but also if you see it dip below the 218 level on the spiders, that could be an area where all of a sudden institutions might be watching this very closely. They might use that as a buying opportunity, especially if that 215, which is the 50-day moving average, holds. 211 is the 200-day moving average, and implied volatility, it's at 14.32 on the spider options. And there is something notable too. On the 16th of December, there will be a dividend for the spiders. So for those of you that are trading options, you have to be aware of this. The spiders are going to be reduced by the amount of that dividend, which is $1.08 right now. That's an estimate, and the ex-dividend date is 9/16. Be aware of that. For those of you that are short options, you could be assigned early or into that ex-dividend date. So plan ahead. We'll be talking more about that this week. The NASDAQ, looking at the NASDAQ futures, trading at 4713.50. The options right now are pricing in from between Sunday night and Friday on the close of business that the NASDAQ could move up or down about $96, actually, $96.79. The simple moving averages, the 20 comes in at 47.93. So we have the 20-day moving average above where the market's trading. And then we've noted all for the last 2 weeks that the NASDAQ has been the weaker or the laggard of all of the major indices. The 50-day comes in at 48.23. So now you have a situation where you have the underlying trading below the 20 and 50-day level. That's telling you that there's a lot of work if the bulls are going to start to get excited. Now, long-term support is still well a ways away at 48.595. So there's no long-term support risk at this juncture. It just right now, institutions and traders right now are not as bullish on the NASDAQ. But we did have a late week move in semis. That could be a catalyst for the upside, as well as what's going on in Europe. IV is relatively inexpensive. And taking a look at the Qs, which is the ETF that tracks the NASDAQ. It went out at 115.70 on Friday. The QQQ market, the option markets, are pricing the potential for the Qs to move $2.18 either up or down going into this Friday's expiration. Again, the 20-day moving average at 116.94. So you got the stock below there. There's some work here in tech land that has to be done if the bulls are really going to start jumping on and getting excited about where the NASDAQ is trading right now. The 50 days at 117. So again, you got the 20-day below the 50-day, and then you have the long-term at 112.18. So you have the Qs above its long-term moving averages, but the institutional and the short-term trend moving averages, the 20 and 50, still not in play right now. And again, you have also an ex-dividend date on the Qs on the 16th. It's a 29-cent dividend. That's going to be taken out of the stock on that 16th. For you option players out there, you have to be aware of this. So make sure that you tie up any risk if you are either long or short options. Now, taking a look at the Dow Jones, was trading at 19,158. Now, the Dow Jones monthly options in the futures are pricing in the potential for the Dow to be either up or down going into December expiration, which is in roughly 12 days in the futures. We will have rolls coming up soon too, folks, for you futures traders. They're pricing in the potential for the Dow to move either up or down 587 points. So there's a lot of movement being priced in there going into the next 2 weeks. The simple moving averages, the 20 comes in at 18,816. So we have the market well above its 20-day. The 50-day comes in at 18,378. And the 200-day comes in at 17,878. So, folks, you can see that the Dow is the strongest of the three major indices so far that we've discussed. It has been the leader specifically for the last week. IV, relatively inexpensive. Now, if you don't have futures, again, you can look at the diamonds. DIA went out on Friday at 191.74. The diamonds are pricing in the potential to move either up or down going into the end of this week of $2.44. All right, so there's a decent move. Now, the 20-day comes in at 188.62. The 50-day comes in at 184.29. And the 200-day comes in at 180.12. Now, I want to watch this very closely. If the diamonds dip below 188, there's not going to be a panic. I think the institutions will watch it. If we hold above that 184 level, then you could see that some larger institutional support, some of that cycled cash that's come out of bonds or other sectors that have been underperforming, they may look at the diamonds or specifically the Dow Jones, and that could be an area right there between 188 and 184 where institutions and traders alike could be looking to get their fingers into this one. Take a look at the Russell 2000. Went out at 13.15 on Friday on the futures. The futures options that are expiring in 12 days, they're pricing in the potential for the Russell to move either up or down $74.62. So a pretty decent sized move. The IWM, which is the ETF that tracks small caps, if you don't have the futures, went out at 130.90. And the weekly options are pricing in the potential for the IWM, the Russell 2000, to move either up or down into this Friday of $2.72. So some decent movement here in the Russell. The 20-day moving average comes in at 128.60, so a challenge there. Then you could see some traders maybe unwinding some short-term long positions. The 50-day moving average comes in at 124. If there's a dip between 128, watch those institutions. The Russell 2000, those domestically centric stocks, the stocks that could really play well in an infrastructure play here in the United States, because they're very domestically centric stocks. If the Russell gets between 124 and 128 on the IWM, you could see some decent buying if, in fact, the fundamentals and technicals are still lining up. And 117.30 is the 200-day moving average. There is no ex-dividend in this cycle. That was in September. And again, you can always check with your brokerage firm. Finally, we want to take a look at crude oil. Crude oil has had an impressive move over the last, basically week, but the last 3 days, it's been unbelievable. Crude oil is trading right off of the 51.68 level it went out on Friday. And the crude oil monthly options are pricing in the potential for crude to move in a range for the next 12 days of around $3.73, either up or down. So you could see crude as high as getting into the 54.55 level, or as low as getting into that 56 and some change level, or 46 and some change level, excuse me. The moving averages, 20-day comes in at 46.79. That's where I'm looking at that near-term support. 48.52 is the 50-day, and 47.30. Now, this tells you that there's a mixed bag in here. It tells you that the commitment to the upside, while the price action is there, you don't have the traders buying into it, the short-term traders. They might have gotten washed out, especially when we had that earlier challenge about a week ago at $45 and then a run up to 52. The point being is that we don't have a lot of traders that are buying into this, and we have some institutions that are in it right at that pivot around $48. So we're going to watch this very closely. Any challenge of that $49, $48 level, you could see a challenge of 46. That means the traders and the trend could start to get to the negative side again, especially if the fundamentals, like watch the EIA report on Wednesday. If we start seeing a larger build, or again, if there's some volatility in Europe with whatever's going to happen with this Italian referendum, crude could get volatile. Now, if you don't have crude futures, you could look at USO. That's the ETF that tracks the crude futures. Now, taking a look at that, it's trading at 11.48 on Friday. The options are pricing in the potential for USO to be either up or down 54 cents this week. The simple moving averages come in like this. The 20 days at 10.40, the 50 days at 10.81, and the 200-day is at 10.69. So some decent levels here. You do see that, again, the 50-day is above the 200-day. So the trend really isn't in a positive area right now for traders, but for institutional traders, they bought into oil, they're sticking with it right now, and the price action has been paying off at this juncture. All right, folks, that's it tonight for the Sunday night setups. Please send your ideas about what you would like to hear on Sunday night setups to info@MarketStream.live. That's info@MarketStream.live. And join me tomorrow morning, where I will be up bright and early at 8:30 Eastern time, and I will be talking about all the overnight action. I'll be covering exactly what happened in that Italian referendum and what it means in Asia and Europe. So stay tuned. Till then, have a great rest of this Sunday evening, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8:30 Eastern time, for the overnight action report. Take care, everybody.